The graphics performance is absolutely amazing. The history of the chip is that it's actually a graphics processor for a mobile phone. So normally you have a processor in the phone and a graphics processor on the side. But the graphics processor is powerful enough you can use it on its own. So that, the history of it is because Evan works for Chrome, he's got access to these kind of chips. So as I say, this is actually a graphics chip, not really a computer. But I think you'll agree that's probably better than most people were playing Quake when they had a big, huge screen PC under the desk. So that's the demo that everybody asked for. The graphics hasn't actually been accelerated yet, so it's going to run even faster than that. And if anybody's ever been to an event that Framboise and Beer have done, we normally hook a couple of these up and have a death match with 2 or 3 people. And it's one of those blasts from the past where everybody says, oh, I can't play this, I'm no good. You get people strapping around corners doing backflips. So we'll just quit that one. Sorry, virtual desktop infrastructure. It's a very convoluted way of saying turning a device into a Windows PC, or turning it into a device that can connect to a Windows PC, or a big server that can create lots of desktops. So a common use for this would be you'd have a big powerful server that could run 30 or 40 Raspberry Pi desktops instead of having 30 or 40 actual PCs like the stuff you're talking about. So what we've got here is a Raspberry Pi that's booted up, connected to actually this laptop. So it is a laptop just for the purpose of an example, but if that was a server, that could be 30, 60, 90, it could be hundreds of users. So as I said, the idea is that we'll do a very quick and easy way for schools to do it. We have been asked what would happen if I had a couple of hundred users or a couple of thousand users, and would this be another thing that I had to manage on top of the existing one? Well, the good news is I've been talking to a UK-based think client manufacturer, and what they've said is they'll allow us to use some of their management software with something that we'll write, and what they're talking about is basically saying that with one of these kind of devices you could run 200, 300 think client devices, or bigger on there. So it's not something you absolutely need, but what they've said is if people already have thin clients or devices, they'll allow us to plug into that, so there's one way of managing every desktop in your organisation. For some people, you might not need 200 of them, and you might not need central management, so you just download the image and off you go. So again, the most important part about it is it's completely free, completely open source, and we'll just make it available in a simple way that people can understand.
What software would you be running on the server?
Terminal services or remote desktop services, which is part of Windows Server 2003-2008. Citrix, XenApp and XenDesktop, or VMware View. So basically you do pay for a bigger server, maybe a couple of £1,000 for a server, but you can run hundreds of desktops of it. So, I mean, I don't want to detract away from what the Raspberry Pi is doing, but with all the Linux stuff, because I'm a Linux bigot as much as the rest of us, but the reality is that lots of schools still have a lot of Word, Excel and PowerPoint, and it's not going to change overnight. So if schools can spend the budget on teachers and teaching, not equipment and licenses, it would appear to be a win all round for everyone.